Yes.
All right, we're going live. And we are live from the wastelands of the internet. I've come to complain, which is standard for me. But I did decide to drag Vincent in with me, which is why I started off with some cat girls for everybody. Hope that you're all having a good day. Hope you all enjoyed the Independence Day. All right, for those of us who are celebrating independence versus those of us who are basically celebrating communism and voted in the Labor government.
Thanks. Great. Yeah. Hey, at least we've got one thing. It's not Biden.
No, you're right. It isn't Biden.
By the way, you are doing some weird ass breakup right now, so I'm not entirely certain what's going on, but hopefully it sorts its life out.
It doesn't look like it's breaking up anywhere. Where's it breaking up at?
Well, your speech is going at, I would say, around 2.5 speed. So basically, when you speak, is how it's coming across.
Well, I kind of was talking quickly because I'm pretty animated at the moment.
No. Trust me, a human being could not go at this speed. It is something electronic that is occurring, sir. I'm giving you full of their warning.
Okay, well, I mean, I
And
can
now it
only
works.
do what I can do.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not in charge of how the thing works. I was speaking quickly. You will attest to that I was speaking quicker than I normally speak when I talk on these things, like I'm doing now.
Oh yes.
Normally this is my rant speed and everything else. I normally go about this. Okay, so what am I ranting about? Okay, the Aristocratic Utensil made an offhanded comment about American foreign policy when it comes to the Middle East. And quite frankly, I am a little bit tired of this nonsense. And it comes from a place of people talking about how we gotten ourselves involved in the Middle East and we had no business doing this, and we're just there to, all we did was involve ourselves because there's oil. Okay. Now, do we remember something back in, I believe it was 53, 54? Do you remember the incident that happened?
Well, funny enough,
learn about it from history. I'm sorry.
Okay, you might want to give me a clue because, no offense, but a lot of things happened back in 54. Do you want to drop a subtle clue? I might be able to pick up on it.
You and the French had a little business deal? No.
Yeah, look, okay, if it's anything to do with the French, it was a bad idea. Okay, I'm saying that right up front. All right.
It was called the Suez Canal incident.
Oh, that little thing. Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah. Okay. I believe that was 53, 54, right? I mean, I guess
something like that. It was the 50s. That's the best I can give you.
Let me.
Yeah. I know you like to be accurate on this stuff.
Well, I like to, remind myself. Oh, it was 56. I guess it was.
Oh, okay. Hey, I knew it was 50s. That's the best I was able to go for.
56. Okay. Let me pull this up so that people can see it here in a second.
Just so we're clear, 21 years before I was born. Yeah, if I remember. I'm not that bloody old, thank you very much.
I realize that you may not remember these things, or you would have been alive when this kind of stuff happened. Why can't this isn't looking at this thing? That's interesting.
No, I've got a black screen, mate.
Yeah, it's because I can't find what I'm looking for on here.
Outstanding. You're having a good day here. You are.
That's not going to happen. I just can't believe that. What the hell is wrong with this?
I know exactly why it's a black screen. You're American and you've got a black screen to remind you of all that oil you want. There you go.
Anyway, Jensen and
Got
his
him.
wonderful little things. I'm gonna have to deal with you
Mm-hmm.
some other methodology. Let me go back over here. Try this again.
Hit it with an hammer.
Hit it. That is a better option sometimes.
Old school technology. Thump it with an hammer.
Okay, let's try it this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still seeing lakes of oil here.
Yeah.
I mean blackness.
Lakes of oil.
I am not dropping that one. I'm just giving you full fair warning. Okay.
All right, is it gonna get me do it now? Now it'll let me do it. Okay.
Big ass black screen.
No,
Just
it's still
letting
not
you know.
letting me do it. Okay,
No.
screw it.
Okay.
All right, the hell with it. It's not gonna work. I don't know why. All right, but basically there was the Suez Crisis. All right, and what happened is France and Britain took this as an opportunity. All right, to how do we put this, Jensen? Assert your dominance in the region, all right, to ensure that to try and basically seize the canal as a thing, right? And what did the United States do?
You got upset.
Yes, we did. Because we didn't see any
All right.
reason for you guys to be involved in trying to seize the Suez Canal.
What he means is that America really wanted it but wasn't willing to admit it. Carry on.
If we had wanted it, we would seize it. Ask the Panamanians. Okay? Just
Oh,
put it out there.
No, I'm going to stop you right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Panamanians couldn't
Colombians.
slow you guys, whichever. Them foreigners couldn't even slow you down if you decide you can go and stamp on them. At least the Egyptians are technically vaguely effective. Any point you want to tell me I'm wrong?
Effective against what?
They're more of a speed bump than the Panama would have been, let's be honest.
Okay. The only reason that they're more of a speed bump than Panama would have been is location. All right.
Yes.
The Colombia and Panama are in far closer to America's reach, all right, than obviously the
other side of the planet, yes.
Yes, then that's exactly what it would be close to. The other side of the planet. All right.
Oh no, I know, man.
Going through the Med, going through the Red Sea. Yeah, that's a little ways away. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I agree with that, but that's to say that they would have been a serious threat. Really? Where? How? Even with the full blown support of the Soviet Union, they wouldn't have been a threat. Because what did the Soviets? What did the Soviet Union have in that region that could have stopped us? Nothing. All right, if we'd wanted to seize it. All right, I mean that's they did not have a water navy. The only thing that they had was using nukes. And do you think that the Russians and the Soviets were going to start a nuclear war for the Arabs, let alone the Egyptians?
No.
Which in my opinion are kind of like quasi Arab. Because they're a very heterogeneous race. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
They have influences because of history with all sorts of race. If you want to talk about a group of people that are true racial mutts, right, in the world, it's the Egyptians because they have everybody there. And I don't say mutts in a derogatory term because I consider Americans mutts. Okay, I just want people to understand that it's in a positive kind of a term. Right? They were far more heterogeneous than almost any of the other areas in that region. Okay.
Yes.
Now let's talk. So where does this start? Where does America's real involvement in the Middle East begin? Where would you put America's involvement in the Middle East? The first real big thing that everyone hates us for.
Uh, I actually have no bloody idea, but I'm going to assume it's after. It's probably about the same sort of time that Israel was air quotes created. Am I correct in that?
In a way, all right. But the big thing that they
Okay.
really got upset about, okay,
Yep.
was our involvement with the Shah.
Iran. Gotcha. Yep.
Right. Okay. Now, why did we get involved with the Shah? Why did we get involved in Iran in that?
Because you didn't like the fact that the communists were moving in, and you thought it'd be a good idea to flex your muscles and go, "I stop it."
Okay, that's half of it. What was the other half?
Why do I think if I say you want to do it, you're going to scream?
No,
Uh,
I'm not gonna scream. Okay,
okay.
because
Actually,
because from a
genuine
point of
answer, I
view, you
don't
can
know.
make that case.
Yeah, genuine answer. I'm unfortunately unable to give you any more than you just wanted to say to the Russians, "I stop it."
Well,
So,
it had to do with the fact that they were nationalizing the oil fields, all right, which the American companies, Standard Oil specifically, all right, had produced,
oh,
and
so
they
I
were
was
going
right. Gotcha.
to, in a sense, like I said, in a sense, I wasn't going to yell. In a
Okay.
sense, they were just going to take it though and just seize it. They weren't going to, you know, pay for it, all right.
Mm-hmm.
And before somebody says, "Well, yeah, but everyone did," oh, no. If you were willing to pay for it, we normally backed off. If you were willing to nationalize something and then say, "Okay, we're going to go ahead and nationalize X, Y, Z," all right, and you didn't want American involvement, all you had to do was sit up and say, "Hey, we're going to pay for it." If you don't believe me, ask the Saudis.
My turn. So, why didn't you have a problem when the rest of the Middle East basically turned around? And I hate to actually do this, but have a go at the French and the British about what we were doing down there and basically kicked us out. You seemed quite comfortable with that one, though, didn't
No,
you?
no, hold on.
Yeah.
Well, when you guys were getting kicked, quote unquote, kicked out, okay,
Yes.
it had a lot more to do with what were willing to do. All right. And if you remember correctly, we got involved in Vietnam because we were not just sitting around letting you guys get kicked out. You guys were withdrawing to a large extent, especially from the
Ahem.
British perspective. You guys were withdrawing and you were doing it on your own because you didn't want to keep your forces in that region.
We weren't involved in Vietnam, I thought.
You weren't involved in Vietnam, but the French were.
Okay, thank you. Oh, fuck the French. We
Okay,
said this. I
but you
mean,
were also involved in another place, not too distant from frickin' Egypt, and cross the border from Egypt. There's a little piece of land there, all right, called
okay.
Libya. You remember Libya?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys
Okay.
withdraw from Libya?
And
Okay. When you withdrew, what did you leave behind?
weapons? Oh no, sorry, that's America. Yeah, that's right. I went there. I went there. No, go on. What did we leave behind? Again, this is
You
before
left
me,
behind
so
the whole nationalization that took place because of the oil fields that you had British Petroleum had exploited.
okay. And the problem there is
I didn't say there was a problem. You withdrew,
okay. Yeah,
and
exactly.
they
So,
nationalized the assets, but you guys didn't complain.
so just for clarification purposes, I'm not actually having to go here. What you're saying is because we didn't complain, you didn't have a problem, but
No, because
you
you were
doing it is acceptable.
because they paid for it, just like the Saudis paid for theirs. They didn't just go and seize the assets and say, "Okay, it's ours. Get the hell out," and everything else. They were willing to sit up there and trade cost value, all right, and give cost back to the companies, all right, that were involved in it. This was different than what
Okay.
the Iranians had said they were going to do. Plus
So
the
in that
fact,
case, what you're saying is the Iranians are stupid. In that case,
well, and
I
like I
take
said,
everything back.
and they had
Go
also
for it.
gone socialist. Okay,
Okay. No, no, no. I'm not complaining anymore. You've
okay.
explained the situation. All
It's
yours.
my point isn't that what we did was right or wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make a value judgment in that regard. My point is that
Hmm.
it was a reactionary. It was a reaction to
Okay.
what was going on. It wasn't, oh, we're going to go in there and meddle with it because it had oil. If we wanted to meddle wherever the oil was, I guarantee you Libya would be flying U.S. flags right now.
To be honest, I'm actually genuinely still stunned that Saudi Arabia isn't called Saudi America. Okay. I mean, I'm being honest. Okay. No joke. This is not me taking a mickey. Why the hell haven't you gone in and gone, yeah, this is all mine, deal with it?
Because we don't, that's not how we do things. There's one thing to sit up there and say, I'm supporting an American company that's getting ripped off because people are just trying to seize this and are a threat to American citizens. It's a total different aspect, all right? When other nationalities says, okay, we're going to pay you, but you have to leave. We tend to do that.
Okay.
Okay, we tend to live up to our agreement. Tend to, not perfect at it, but we tend to live up to our agreements, right?
Okay.
Our involvement in Vietnam had nothing to do with oil, had everything to do with stopping the spread of communism. All right, which
I
was
don't disagree there.
all right. Now, that was how we went about it was completely, you can say, was completely wrong. Personally, it doesn't matter to me, all right? Because the way we should have went about it, once bullets start flying, that's it. Okay, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I know B-52 flying formation. I know the pattern. It's okay. You
Well,
don't need to
apparently
repeat
people
it.
don't believe that that pattern exists.
Yeah, no, that again, we're going
And
back
they
to
tend
people
to
are stupid.
they tend to ignore the effectiveness of that pattern. There's really
I have never said it doesn't work.
there's only one quote unquote Middle East area that you can look at, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that we stuck our noses in completely on our own. And even
Go on,
that,
say Iraq.
no, it was not Iraq.
I know. I just go on, say Iraq. Give me a laugh.
That was Afghanistan. Let's be perfectly
Yeah.
frank. We sit up there and supplied weapons and supported the jihad, all right, against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan, and we had no dog in that fight. Okay,
Agreed.
we didn't have a dog in the fight. We did it strictly to pay the Soviets back. Okay,
Yes.
pay the Soviets back for both the Korean War and their actions in the Vietnam War. Okay,
Yes.
that's why we got involved in Afghanistan the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The second time we got involved in Afghanistan, all right, was because it was a reaction to 9/11. See the difference?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Almost. I've got to do it, even though he's technically a Saudi. So yeah, how's that work again? Or was a Saudi, is the case?
Well, Usama bin Laden and Al Qaeda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was like Saudi. Wasn't he actually Saudi?
he was. He is a
That's what I
member
thought.
of
Yeah.
the Sauds, and high up in there. He isn't part of the royal family, but he is related in the upper echelons. His family has a
And
lot of ties to the royal family and so forth.
okay, and again, I'm not actually picking a fight with this. I'm actually just curious. So, why is Saudi Arabia not glowing in the dark? I'm
Be
sorry, but that was the greatest terrorist act on your country, not
because
caused by Canadians
it was not
burning.
sanctioned by the Saudi government in any way, shape, or form, and they had already previously disowned that son of a bitch.
Okay,
Now,
can you add the
don't get me
word
wrong.
officially?
Now, don't get me wrong. The problem in the
Mhm,
region still exists because the region has a cultural
mhm.
problem. Okay, let's be
Yes.
perfectly frank. There's still a bunch of 12th century freaking sand heaves who sit up there and haven't gotten out of the 12th century mentality, all right, to come in and
Mm-hmm.
join the civilized world. They're still running around like that, and it's continuing to have problems, all right, and it will continue
And
to
it's
have
getting
problems
worse.
until there is some freaking nuclear glass left.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just pointing that out. That's the problem in Afghanistan.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So the question becomes: for Afghanistan was under Soviet domination for from 45 to what was it? 80, 1990s thereabouts, right?
Yeah, it's around my when I was born. So yeah, basically late 80s, early 90s.
How come their culture didn't change?
Good question.
Because they weren't interested in changing their culture. Okay, the Soviets were not
Mm,
interested in any kind of cultural change. Otherwise, Chechnya, they would be speaking Russian.
That's fair. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you there.
Okay, so the idea that the quote unquote West is the one that screwed everything up there and is the problem. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with the West, nor does it have anything to do with the Soviets or the East. All right, it's a cultural identity issue. We had just got
Yeah.
done fighting in World War II, which was the same issue,
Yes.
both for the Germans and for the freaking Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Same friggin' 12th century mentality. This is why it's easier for us to deal with China today, because as much as I despise China, China's not locked in the 12th century. It's not. The people in China
Yeah.
are not mired in a 12th century outlook of the world. They have another.
So let's be fair, North Japan nowadays.
Well, exactly. Neither does Japan, which is one of the reasons why we pretty much pulled out of everything out of there. All right. The only thing that
Yeah,
we have
no,
there are just small little tripwires. All right.
yeah.
Same thing in North Korea. As much as I despise North Korea and look upon the heinous actions of the Kim family, right,
Mm-hmm.
and how they've treated their people and the starvation and everything else that they've done for their people, you don't see the United States going in there and using a big whacking stick on them.
Which is kind of a shame, but I do understand your point.
They are not it, for all intents and purposes. Let me give you the difference. If when Iran
Mm-hmm.
gets a nuclear weapon, what's the next thing that happens? There's going to be a nuclear explosion either in Israel or in the United States somewhere. Somewhere.
No, okay, no, hold. The first thing that's going to happen is going to be a nuclear explosion in North Korea because the idiots are likely to set it off themselves. Then they're going to lob one at South Korea because they hate the South Koreans. Then we can go to Israel or America. I'm okay with going to them, but let's be fair, it's going to happen in North Korea and then South Korea first.
Then why hasn't it happened? Because the North Koreans have nuclear weapons and they've tested them.
Probably because they don't have people there from Russia or China sitting there slapping their hands every time someone goes near the big red button.
Well, it's because culturally they're not mired in the 12th century.
That's
They
also a fair statement.
they understand that the moment they throw a nuke, they get to catch one.
Yes,
Okay,
they do.
and they don't want to be bathed in nuclear fire. They want to be listened to. All right, which is one of the
Mm-hmm.
reasons why they created the nukes. Their creation of the nukes, North Korea running with the nukes, has a lot more to do with rattling the sabers on the West and even against China than it does anything else, because China now can't ignore them.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if you ever notice, whenever North Korea is out of the news for a long period of time, they do something and rattle some kind of nuclear threat to thing, all right, to try and bring back knowledge to itself or some kind of look at us, right? At which point, basically, China goes and gives them free stuff, like food.
Okay, I'm going to say this, and I realize that this is not North Korean, but I think it applies somehow. Notice me, senpai.
Yeah, basically, we need food, and you guys need to supply it to us. Somebody needs to supply it to
Yeah.
us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the Middle East, it's a different scenario. The United
Yes.
States, all right, was never really that involved in the Middle East until we get brought into it by the very people that idiots like the utensil, or I shouldn't call him an idiot because he's not an idiot. It's actually a good channel.
Mm-hmm.
The Aristocratic Utensil is actually a good channel. Right? I want people to understand that, and I see that we're buffering quite a bit. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but
I have no idea.
because
You're
it's not showing any drop frames on OBS.
I had no idea, mate. I'm sorry to say. I do hear it in your voice. It's minimal, but periodically it'll speed up for like half a second, but it's not enough to ruin anything. So I haven't said anything.
Let's try and close a bunch of things and see if this helps.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't seem to. Let me try closing
No,
this.
well,
See what happens.
hey, it could literally just be help. We're probably being monitored by the freaking FBI, etc. Okay,
All right. Ba-
you can't deny that that is a possibility.
of course, it's a possibility. All right. I'm not going to deny any of
Mm-hmm.
that. All right. I just closed every
Yeah.
freaking window but OBS and the channel we got open
Yep.
right now. All right. To try and see if
And
we
your
can
voice is
minimize it.
still fragmenting, but carry on.
It must be Discord.
That's what I'm assuming.
Maybe we should bounce in and out of Discord. What do you think? Here, let me bounce out of Discord and come back.
Okay, I am.
Okay. How's this?
Okay, give me a 1 to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Actually, it sounds perfect. So that apparently dealt with whatever the issue was.
Okay. So I apologize for the first 15 minutes of nonsense.
Now you get the rest of it. It's also nonsense, but at least now you can understand him. Carry on, sir.
Yeah, Discord was having some issues. All right. I mean, I assume that the people could probably hear me pretty well. All right. You were the one
Yeah.
having the issue, and then of course, however that was translating, because I'm not getting buffering anymore either. All right, that
Oh,
I can
seem
see.
to have worked fine then.
So
Sweet.
I don't know what it fixed, but it fixed something. All
Well,
right.
let's be fair. IT usually say if it don't work, turn it off, turn it back on again. Evidently, it worked. So
Give it a
all
good
good.
whack. The old
Yeah.
days. Anyway, so the United States got involved in Iran as a result of
Hmm.
two things that were happening. Okay, like I said, we were supporting the Shah. We supported the Shah's overthrow of the communist government. All right, and the main reason is the Shah. So people understand this. The Shah still nationalized the oil fields. Did you know that?
No, I didn't actually.
All right, so he's still national. They still nationalized the oil fields. They just paid paid for it. Okay, and did
Hmm,
they pay
okay.
the actual price? Of course not. All right, but
No.
they paid enough
Yeah.
that it was like it still made a profit to the U.S. companies. All right, I'm not going to
Yeah.
deny that. And what's more is they did not sit up there and they were smart enough to know, okay, we need your knowledge base to produce oil, something the Venezuelans had no understanding of and still don't.
Yeah.
And so what
Yeah.
the Iranians did under the Shah, which was very effective, by the way, I want you to understand this, was they sit up there and put their people in there to learn the business and slowly replace the American advisors and the British advisors in the petroleum industry with their own, which is why Iran to this day can still do things like pump oil. They can still refine their own oil. Why? Because
Okay.
they internally have the expertise to do it. Okay. Now, that's
Hmm.
somewhat problematic for the Saudis, right? And the reason it's problematic for the Saudis isn't because the Saudis aren't interested in it, although many of them aren't. The real problem is Saudi Arabia just doesn't have the manpower.
Okay.
Okay, they're not a populous country. So land-wise,
No.
they got a large country. Population-wise, no. People forget this. Okay,
Well,
this
let's
is
be
why.
honest, dude. 75% of it's basically sand and some more sand. And don't forget some sand. Okay.
I would say a higher percentage than 75% personally, but you're not wrong.
I'm trying to be nice.
Okay,
I'm trying to make it sound a little bit better. Okay.
75% sand, another 20% rock. I mean,
Yeah.
because they do have on the northern end, it's a really rocky region. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
But it's not lush fertile land either way. Okay, it's not the
I
Garden
wonder if
of
it
Eden.
was. I wonder if it was. Well, actually, that logically dictates it probably was at least at one point. I mean, let's
Why?
be honest. Oil comes from trees and dinosaurs.
No, it doesn't.
So, oh, here we go.
No,
Go on.
no, it doesn't.
Okay. Why not? Tell
Bec-
me where I'm wrong.
because it comes from internal forces in the planet. All right, that create it.
Hmm.
It is not the byproduct of the dead vegetation matter. Okay, that has come from it. It comes down to the natural subduction zones and so forth, and how it gets produced internally. Coal, you can say, all right, is plant matter that got crushed. Okay,
Yeah.
oil is quite a bit different though. The oil fields have no relationship, all right, to dinosaurs. You can go into a coal
Okay.
seam and you can pull apart a coal seam and you will see evidence of previous creatures. You'll see the implants of leaves and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can say that, like I said, you can say that about coal. You can't say that about oil, though. Oil is formed deeper. Oil is actually formed deeper within the Earth's crust. All right, further down, probably somewhere in the mantle somewhere. All right, below the crust. All right, is where it's actually formed, and it just slowly pools in certain areas to come out.
Okay. I'm about to pee off an American. So, what you are telling me is that based on what you've just said, theoretically, the moon could have an absolute F ton of oil on it then.
Do you have
Because
subduction
the
zones
moon
on the
came
moon?
from. Sorry?
Do you
What was
have
that?
subduction zones in the moon? You have active subduction zones in the moon.
Oh, okay.
No, you don't.
Wow, why haven't you invaded? So why haven't you invaded and checked?
We
I mean,
we did land on the moon.
look,
The moon is tectonically inert.
okay,
Okay,
all right, fair point. Okay.
and I'm not saying that plant matter doesn't slowly get converted into oil. That's not what I'm saying. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I think carbon dioxide as a whole gets converted into oil. I think it's a continuing process.
Okay.
All right. For example, if we left all the oil fields that we know, if we just shut up and said, okay, we're never going to drill there again and come back a few hundred years from now, the oil will be back there,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
So basically,
Unless
if we
it's
did what
collapsed.
Just Stop Oil wants, so if we don't do what Just Stop Oil wants, it will actually refill, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hey, you are the scientist. I am the idiot. I am fine with it.
I will tell you right now, there are scientists that
No.
agree with that and scientists that disagree with that, right? But my view, and the view
Yeah.
of many of us, is that oil is not a strictly a byproduct of the the dinosaurs, and the previous things. There's too much of it, all
Okay.
right, and it doesn't explain a lot of things. For example, why
Uh,
when I find dinosaurs don't I find oil necessarily? Why is the Badlands of North Dakota not chock full of oil?
That is fair. That I'm actually not going to disagree with you there.
Okay, so
Okay.
why aren't
All
there
right.
huge oil fields running around in China? China has a lot of archaeologically, you know, sites from the the dinosaur time periods. Yet there's not a lot of oil there.
This is true.
Okay,
Okay, fair
it's
point.
not like I said. I'm not saying that there's no relationship between carbon life forms and carbon in the Earth's crust. Obviously, there's got to be
Yeah.
some kind of relationship, but it's not the primary one. It's what I'm trying to point out. All right, subduction
Okay.
zones that take things down into the Earth create a process where the oil is produced deep in the Earth. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I think
Okay.
the very actions inside of areas like the Marianas Trench, right, which is a subduction zone, all right,
Hmm.
is what is the beginning of the process to bring oil into the ground, all right, that you're going to find at some point in time, right? Now,
Hmm.
once again, it's not perfect, but it does explain a lot of why isn't there oil here and why are there other areas that have oil. Okay, it's just something that it comes it's found in certain geological formations, just like diamonds are found in only certain geological formations. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
And what are diamonds?
Uh, they're basically coal that are really, really, really crushed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're carbon. So
Yeah.
why is it where we find a coal seam we don't find a bunch of diamonds in? Because there's another process that has to obviously take place in order for it to become a diamond.
Yes. Agree.
Okay, so that's my point. Okay, now does that mean we can't use more oil than we can than the Earth is replenishing? Yes, it does mean we can use oil at a rate that isn't replenishable rapidly. Okay,
Hmm.
but what it does mean is that at that point you can only take out as much oil as you can take out. There's going to be an equilibrium at some point, and when that equilibrium establishes itself, it's going to be what it is. Make sense?
Yes. Oh, yes.
All right, back to the Middle East. So when was
Hmm.
the next freaking thing that we all got bent out of shape with, right? Where the United States got involved. How come we're not, like I said, how come we weren't involved in Libya? In fact, when did we
I
get
don't
involved
know.
in Libya? We've been ignoring
It's-
Libya for forever and a day. When did we become involved in Libya?
That was like the 80s or something, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. And what happened?
You blew it up.
So somebody shot at us, didn't they?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody stood there and started to
But let,
puff up about how they were going to take us out. Take us out. Somebody
yeah,
stood there and said,
Nomad,
"Okay, I'm going to declare this whole area over here of ocean that was never. It's now our territorial zone. How dare you go into there?" You remember all
yeah,
that?
yeah, but look, I hate to do this to you, dude, but ain't China doing exactly that? Literally that.
Okay. And
And
is our response any different than it was with Libya, where we say, "Oh yeah, we're going to sail right through here. What are you going to do about it?"
well, I mean, I could be wrong here. I know I'm no expert, but I don't believe you dropped an absolute F ton of F-111s up and down China,
Did they shoot at?
unless
Did
there's
they shoot
something going.
at? Did they shoot at our planes?
You want to add the word yet?
I'm just saying.
But
Did
all
they
right,
did they shoot at our planes? Yet. If
at
you want
this
to say
moment,
yet,
no.
you can say yet. Have they shot at our
I
planes?
know. Uh, I
are,
will accept
are
at
we
this
go?
point, no, they have not.
And if they shoot at our planes, do you expect us just to go, "Okay, it's all yours"?
No, I reckon you guys are going to lose your living shit if they shoot at your boats because
Yes.
America's got a boat problem. Okay.
I'm just putting it out there.
And
Okay.
this is a Brit saying this. Okay.
Okay.
We have an issue with people that mess with our boats, but you guys actually make what we've got look positively calm and controlled.
I can tell you right now that when the Shah was overthrown,
Hmm.
what did we do? We were monitoring the situation. We didn't really do
Mm,
anything to Iran until they seized our hostages and they seized our embassy.
yes.
Okay? Everyone
Yeah.
talks about, oh, the U.S. has done all this other stuff in here. The vast majority of it has been as a response and a reactionary response to conditions on the ground at the time. To say, no, the U.S. just going there for oil and everything else shows you the lack of, the myopic attitude that these people have.
Actually, you are correct there. I'm not going to disagree with you.
There's only one time the U.S. really went to bat, all right, and that was in the Yom Kippur War.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, did we give Israel weapon systems? Of course, we gave Israel weapon systems. Why? Because they were fighting people that were technically our enemies. And let's be honest, we tend to sell weapons to, whoever pays. But that's a separate issue. You don't necessarily have to be an ally of the United States to get our weapons. All
Cough,
right?
cough, Nazi Germany. Cough, cough, cough.
No, no. We did not give them weapons.
I did not say you gave them. I said you sold them.
And we did not sell them weapons.
Oh, really?
Yes. We did not give them weapons.
Okay.
We did.
I don't believe you, but okay.
We did build factories.
Yes.
But we didn't give them the weapons. They made their own. Okay.
You realize that's sophistry, don't you?
Okay, well, we gave you guys factories too.
I didn't say you didn't.
Okay.
No.
And we gave you guys actual weapons. We gave you guys tanks, and we gave you artillery, and we gave you artillery pieces.
Hell, you end up giving us people, so I'm not disagreeing. My entire argument was whether or not Germany ended up getting stuff from you, and the answer is yes, they did.
They did
whether
not
they
get
paid for it,
weapons from us. The Soviets did. Okay.
And you regret every second of that.
I think we should have. I think that if we could have convinced Hitler not to take Czechoslovakia, to just go ahead and take Poland, and then you can deal with the Soviets, the rest of the world would have stood by and watched.
Dude, if they hadn't have screwed with Poland, England wasn't going to get involved. We were cool.
I think that they could have gotten involved in Poland if they'd have done it before they got involved with Czechoslovakia, and you would have just sat by on the sideline. And the reason is the Germans had a much better claim to the Danzig corridor, which was created by the British and French insistence of creating a freaking port for Poland, which was landlocked prior to that. And you carved it out of freaking Prussia, all right, which divided a German state on one side and a German state on the other.
Yeah, so we should have squashed the small one and left it at that. I don't see your problem.
I'm just trying to point out that if they would have, instead of taking the Sudetenland and then snatching up all of frickin' Czechoslovakia, if they just said, look, we're going to take the Germans and we're going to reunite the Germans that are true Germans back into this, you would have stood by the sideline. You would not have defended Poland in that regard.
That's actually fairly feasible. I'll accept that statement.
Okay, let's be perfectly frank. The French were more than willing to let them take the Alsace or Lorraine region back, and you guys would have stood by and let them take the Danzig corridor back if they'd have done it in that order.
Yeah.
Right. Now it would have brought. I will say this: it would have brought a war with Russia on sooner. That it would have done. But the rest of the people would have said, "Oh, it's Russia and Germany. Let's just sit back and watch." That's what would have happened.
I've got to do it. You say that. I still think you'd be selling weapons to the Germans.
Well, we definitely would have been selling weapons to the Germans in that regard.
And there you go. Yep. just saying there. Okay.
And don't tell me the British wouldn't have been doing it either.
Well, we would. Yeah, all right, we would, of course, but money's money.
There would not have been a blockade.
There would have been a different version of blockade, as we basically park off the north of Germany, bombard the living snot out of Germany.
Why would you be attacking Germany? You wouldn't be involved in the war.
Oh no, that's right. We're actually on the German side for once, aren't we? Good point. I'm just not used to being on the German side. It feels weird to me. Okay.
Understandable, Like I said, the world would have been different if Hitler had an ounce of common sense. Right?
Oh right, yeah. No,
No,
you're correct.
seriously. I mean, when he took the
I know.
Alsace-Lorraine, once he took the Alsace-Lorraine and realized that the Allies weren't going to move, okay, his next
Hmm.
pivot should not have been Czechoslovakia. His next pivot should have been immediately towards the Danzig corridor to reunify Germany, and the rest of the world would have stood by. All right.
Let's be honest, dude. The major mistake was when Hitler had a brain freeze and thought, "I know what. Let's attack Russia."
No.
That was his mistake.
I,
That was the second that everything went, "Oh boy, how stupid you go." Oh, okay, that's how stupid you are.
really? Look at what they did when they attacked Russia. Okay.
Lost.
They
They didn't win.
lost because they were at war with everyone else. Well, even
And
then, they were kicking the crap out of the Russians to a large extent until Hitler declared war on the United States.
And again, my point is if they had not done that to Russia and actually stuck with them, they would have stamped all over Europe.
Well,
Then they could have
okay,
turned round and stamped Russia into a small and bloody
they
smear.
they
My
they
point is that the Germans were stupid for going against the Russians when they did. Not that they shouldn't have done it, they shouldn't have done it when they did.
well, I disagree in a certain sense. I agree with you in the sense that the timing of all that was not the best. Okay,
No.
because they were still at war with everyone else. Well, they're still at war with the British. Okay.
That and winter. I mean, come on, let's break this down here. Russia, winter.
All
Same
right.
sentence, never
If
a good
if
one.
winter was so devastating, how come they went right through it the first year and then immediately continued the offensive the next year? It wasn't just the winter.
No, I didn't say it wasn't just the winter. I'm just saying the winter really did not help them.
Well, of course,
Okay.
the winter doesn't help anybody. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it, it
apart from the
it
Russians.
helped the Russians in the sense that it delayed the German offensive. Okay, in that
Yeah,
regard, it was a help. Okay, but
yeah.
it wasn't that the Russians fought any better in the winter than they did in the summer. Okay,
No.
it's just fighting in that kind of winter. It, it's it's to no one's advantage. Okay,
Yep.
right. The only real outcome is death, and whoever is participating, Russians,
Yeah.
non-Russians, even the Finns. Right, winter is winter.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
the
And let's be fair, dude. If the Finnish can't actually deal with that cold, you know you are screwed because you don't get much more north than them. Let's
yeah.
be
Well, I
honest.
mean, it's amazing that Finland is still a country, but it is, and you can
Yeah.
appreciate that. All right,
Yeah.
I have nothing against the Finns. The Finns tend to be very insular people. Yeah, I can appreciate that. They're very much leave us alone and we leave you alone kind of people. Can't argue
Oh,
with that.
here's the thing for you. I don't know if you know this. Did you know that Britain was still at war with Finland until sort of like the late 80s?
Why were you at war with them?
Because we thought that the Russians were going to invade through them, so we declared war on them in case we needed to send stuff. Then we kind of forgot. I mean, no, literally, we kind of forgot. Basically, some genius was reading through the paperwork and went, Britain, were you at war with us? And we're like, no, we're not. Then we go, oh crap, we are. Let's change that quick. But we apparently, when people tell you that World War II finished back in 1944-45, they lied. It's sometime in the 80s. It's absolutely fascinating.
That's interesting. Yeah, because the Germans send weapons to the Finnish to fight the Russians. That's true. The Soviet Union. That's true.
Yeah,
All right, and they
yeah.
were very
And
effective at it.
basically, yeah, we panicked. So immediately we just declared war on it. And then we forgot. It just absolutely makes me laugh my ass off that we forgot. Okay, what does that tell you about the British? We have gone to war with so many people, we forget who we've gone to war with.
we
Wow.
haven't quite done that yet. We don't necessarily declare war. We just kind of go. It's a police action, so, which is a separate
That's
issue.
how you Yeah, no, that's how you just get out of losing wars. You claim it's a police action, dude.
No,
Oh,
no,
isn't
we
that
don't.
exactly what Russia's Oh, I'll be quiet now.
The
Mhm.
Russian Ukrainian thing is an entire different matter, right? But
I know.
the other thing, like I said, the other time when the other big incident that the U.S. got involved in, okay, after we were supplying our ally Israel, right,
Mhm.
is you end up with the Yom Kippur War, where the U.S. got involved in that, in the
Yeah.
sense of, okay, for those who don't know, the you have this the 7 days or 6 days war, depending on how you want to talk about it, right? Which happened in
Mm,
'67, okay,
yeah, something like
and
that.
in where Israel fought a war against Iraq, a war against Syria, a war against Jordan, and a war against Egypt,
Egypt. Mhm.
and won all of them in a lightning
Lebanon.
attack. Right. Well, no, actually,
Mhm.
They didn't go into Lebanon at that point.
Oh, okay. My mistake.
Right. The Lebanese conflict was in the '80s, where
Ah.
they went in. Well, because of anyway. There's a lot of things happening
Yeah.
in Lebanon. And we're not here to talk about the entire Middle East and how it's changed and the dynamic.
No.
But the at that point you had you had them win. Now Israel did some things that if Americans had found out about it, except for the Johnson administration hid certain things. But if Americans would have found out about it, we'd have been at war with Israel.
What, you
Okay,
mean the fact that when they shot one of your boats? Yeah.
shot it. No, they blew it up, dude. They went out full force on it. Okay,
No, no,
and
I'm just trying to make it
killed
sound
dozens
so
of
bad.
Americans in the process,
Yeah.
and nobody even knew
Not
about it.
necessarily a best plan. Yeah.
Well, their fear was unfounded, really. Okay, they were worried that we were going to warn Egypt. We would not
Yeah.
have warned Egypt, right? But
No.
they weren't sure, so that's what happens when you have Democrats in charge. Nobody's really sure what their foreign policy actually is. So they said, "Well, we can't take the risk." Okay. Um, but during that, the speed of that conquest and how fast they were able to take the entire Sinai Peninsula shattered everybody's expectations of Egypt and their
Mhm.
capabilities. All right.
Mhm.
Egypt was the one that was the most populous, so therefore they always considered it was the largest threat. Okay. Syria's response was delayed, and due to some big mistakes, they really paid the price. Okay, when they because Israel had time, it gave Israel time to realign its forces back. All right,
Yeah.
to take on the Syrians, which is when they seized the Golan Heights. All right,
Yeah.
so that took out that response. Okay, Jordan, they took the entire West Bank. Jordan.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not justifying Israel in doing this, right? But the Yom Kippur War, Sadat, right, who is now the president of Egypt, um, tried to say, "Look, we want the Sinai back." Now, why do they want the Sinai back?
Go on. I have no idea.
Oil. There's oil in the
Oh, that
Sinai,
makes sense. Oh,
right?
is there now? Okay.
Yeah, it's not a
All right.
lot, but for
No.
Egypt, which has no oil aside from that, it's definitely it's definitely a resource that they wanted to exploit. So the Yom Kippur War, the Egyptians attack Israel again, right? Without telling its allies it was doing so.
Mm-hmm. Because it went so well for them first time.
Well, and it kind of went well for them this time too. They went.
Hmm.
screaming across. And then the Israelis got their second wind, and mainly because Nixon told them, "Go ahead and you can fully mobilize against them, and we'll replace all of your losses for one. So
Hmm.
you lose a tank, we'll replace it with a tank." Okay. At which
Hmm.
point Israel said, "Okay," and they were able to marshal the forces and start to put the long process of pushing the Egyptians back. Right.
Yeah.
At which point the United States also got involved because Egypt called upon their ally at the time, all right, Egypt and Syria,
Mm.
called the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And the Soviet Union mobilized, put their paratroopers on planes, and had them in the air flying. And Nixon called up on the red phone Brezhnev and said, "If they leave Soviet airspace, we will shoot them down."
Hmm.
Most people don't know that, but that did take place. And Brezhnev said, "Okay, we don't leave the airspace because I don't think the U.S. is joking."
Yeah.
And we weren't. And that would have been a
No.
hot war between Russia and America. But that was the next big quote unquote interference, if you want to talk about it, of the United States in the Middle East politics. Okay,
Hmm.
to say that we were, we're constantly, or we're there because of the oil, and we constantly interfering with all these areas. How so? Where? Now we're in there
Okay.
now after the '80s, all right,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. But the '80s, the late '80s, early '90s is where we became ground power wise involved. Okay. Other than
Yeah.
that, we've
I'm actually
never
gonna
been ground powered.
I'm gonna back you up a little bit here as well. This will be weird for you. But technically, you'd think that a lot of it would become of the media coverage. After all, now we actually had media coverage that really went at speed. You're looking at stuff back in the 60s and like prior to that, they didn't exactly have high speed media coverage. Once you got into the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, at that point, that's why I feel that it seems that you guys are, air quotes, everywhere nicking the oil. No, you was already everywhere anyway and not nicking the oil, but we're just using that as an excuse
Right.
to blame America.
Well, and
Now,
and then and then to say that the fall of the Soviet Union, we've been looking to pick fights. Where? The only one that anyone can even talk about is they act like, "Oh, you picked a fight with Iraq." Really? Iraq didn't pick a fight with us? I beg to differ.
mm-hmm,
Okay. I beg to differ that our attack on Iraq. Anyone who wants to say, "Oh, no, they weren't doing anything. They didn't do nothing." Bullshit. Okay, you guys, everyone acts like it was completely unilateral. It was not unilateral. All right, and that's the
right.
part
Just
that frosts me with this is you get these idiots going, "Oh, the U.S. does all these things bad, bad, bad." Yes, I'm tired of this. The United States does everything bad, but all of a sudden, when they need our help, they're busy bitching and screaming, "Help us! Help us!"
right.
You're about to
Clarification time.
see. You are about to see the United States get into fine. You don't want us around. We're going to pick up our ball. We're going to leave. Enjoy yourselves. Have a fun friggin' time of it.
This whole Iraq thing we're talking about here, are we talking the one where they went in and screwed up Kuwait, or are we talking the later one? Just so as I know.
There's no difference. It's all part of the same thing.
Yeah, I know, but there was a few years difference. Is my point.
There's a full separation of years, but the reality is Saddam Hussein, all Saddam Hussein had to do, quite frankly, if you want the United States not to invade Iraq, all right,
Mhm.
all Saddam Hussein had to do was sit up there and let the weapons inspectors go wherever they wanted,
Yeah,
and stop shooting other planes. That's all he had to
that
do.
also helps. Yeah.
You guys bitch at us and blame us for everything. All right, we were the only teeth the UN had, or would you have preferred we say, "Okay, well, nothing's going to happen, and we'll just let them, build another nuclear weapon"? And don't come back and tell me, "Oh no, they weren't going to build a nuclear weapon." That proved it. They proved that there was no weapons of mass destruction, which is a bunch of bullshit. And you know that as well as I do,
Yeah.
Jensen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not
Right?
going to fight you on this one. Not at all.
frost me listen to these flaming fools sit up there and talk about this crap. We weren't over there, didn't
Yeah.
see what was going on. Now,
Yes.
and I will admit that we probably wouldn't have gotten involved in Iraq if it wasn't for the fact that we were already involved because of what had happened, all right, at 9/11. We were still reacting in a reactionary mode of 9/11 as well. That still was a thing.
Mhm.
That's all true.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the biggest problem that I had with attacking Iraq was Iraq should have been third. Number two should have been Iran, and we should have finished Iran when we had the flipping chance.
And number one is Paris. Don't forget that. Just making it clear. I want to get that in nice and early. No matter who you attack, first place you should attack is Paris. It will confuse people, if nothing else.
The thing about America, like I said, the thing about American involvement in the Middle East as a whole, the United States has had very much a more hands-off approach to things than people want to ever give us credit for, and they act like we initiated all this nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And we really haven't initiated all that much. Like I said, we did attack Iraq. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we pushed that attack on Iraq. It was somewhat unnecessary to a degree, and I will admit that as well. All right, but that doesn't change the fact that it was a reactionary aspect of Saddam Hussein losing his ever-loving mind at the wrong friggin' time. The United States was in a major reactionary mode because our homeland had been attacked by them. All right, and for him to make these kind of statements, thinking that the French were going to tell us what to do, I still to this day can't believe France even told him. Oh no, the Americans will just sit back and let it happen.
France. Again, I'm not trying to defend France because that just goes against everything that's in me. But I'm going to assume that France thought it had a lot more power over you because of the connection between France and America. Well, guess what? They found out. No. Okay, I have warned you about France. Okay, I want this clear. I have warned your ass that France seems to think it's a whole lot bigger than it actually is. It thinks it's got a lot more influence. It does not anymore. It's like us. It is
It's
in decline.
it is France. The French have gotten us involved. Has gotten the U.S. involved in more dumb shit than we ever needed to know about. That's very true. All right, the whole Vietnam thing was due to France,
Exactly.
and we never
I
should have.
mean, the
That wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the. Okay, our involvement in Vietnam stems from a dumbass named Kennedy more than anything else. And it wasn't
gosh, a Kennedy.
when I say this, it has to do with what Kennedy had done. People don't
Um,
know this. Kennedy, when he was running for election, okay, had ginned up the public, okay, that we had a missile gap with the Soviet Union.
okay.
Okay.
Just for clarification before you continue, this is JFK, yeah, not
Yes,
RFK.
this is JFK.
Okay, just want to make sure. I want because you hadn't said you just said a Kennedy, didn't define which one. I just wanted to make
There's
sure.
only
Please
one
carry on.
Kennedy has been president at this point in time. Okay, there's never been another Kennedy that's been president. But
I thought RFK was.
no,
Oh, okay, my bad. All right, genuinely I thought the bugger had made it in. All right,
no,
okay.
he was killed during the Democratic primary. Actually,
Ah, okay.
so
All right, that might be. I'm
he
getting.
did have the inside track of being the nominee. Okay,
Yeah,
it would have
and he
been
had. Sorry,
interesting to see
so
that
he
all
had
happen.
rank, didn't he?
He had what?
He did have a position. He had a position. Now, what was he?
Prior to that, he under his
Yeah,
brother, he was the attorney general.
that was it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, carry on.
Okay, so but JFK wanted to. One of the things that everyone was talking about the Democrats was that they were weak on national defense. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so JFK ginned up about the missile gap. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now why was this believable? Sputnik. Okay?
Mhm.
Sputnik, the people have to understand what Sputnik meant. Sputnik meant that the Soviet Union could put a nuke anywhere in the world whenever it wanted.
Yes.
Okay? You have to understand that. That's what the terror of Sputnik was. Their ICBMs achieved orbit. When you have orbit, you can hit anywhere in the anywhere in the
Yeah.
earth becomes viable. So your missile ranges now are drastically increased. How do we protect the homeland? Okay. Well, we
Mhm.
got to have ICBMs of our own, which we already did. All right. But
Mhm.
they have more. They're able to do all these things. Their technology was superior to ours, right? They have all this open area where they've got these nukes pointed at us. This is what JFK said. Now,
Mhm.
Eisenhower knew that that wasn't true,
Mhm.
but he couldn't say why he knew. Because Eisenhower had opened his mouth and said, "No, no, we're not flying over the Soviet Union with U-2s." And even when Gary Powers went down, we tried to explain it as, "Oh, he must have just gotten lost." Okay,
Yeah.
we weren't admitting any of this stuff at the time, right?
Yeah.
But we had the imagery which told us that no, the Russians were not building special silos to hit America. We knew that, right? But
Yeah.
JFK had talked himself into a game of that, all right, with the
Mm.
rhetoric that he used. Okay. And so when you said, okay, well, we don't really have a nuke gap, what's the next thing he did? Is he totally flubs the Bay of Pigs.
Yeah.
At which point he's like, okay, you screwed up. You have two screw ups now, all right? To get the American people on his side, you had to sit up there and say we can't let the communists take over Vietnam when France was asking for help in Vietnam publicly. And so he's the one
Yeah.
who caused us to send advisors into Vietnam and plussed them
Yeah.
up. Okay, we didn't send in 500. We had approximately 10,000. Well, not even
Yeah.
that 10,000, but he did plus us up quite a way, right? Now,
Yeah.
everything at that point is stabilized. JFK obviously dies. His successor, all right,
Mhm.
is Johnson, right?
Yeah.
He was the vice president, and then he runs for presidency on his own and wins. Okay,
Okay.
it's during this time that you end up with the Gulf of Tonkin. Okay,
Yeah.
and of course now it becomes, Johnson is convinced that as a Soviet proxy, the North Vietnamese want a war with the United States, and he proceeds to prosecute
Mhm.
it. Okay, it's not a joke. Okay, it's what we did. Once again, it's a response. Okay, people don't know and haven't studied or haven't even looked at the Gulf of Tonkin think that it was just a lie. It was an intentional lie told to the American people. It was not. It was not a false flag or a lie. You can say it was a mistake. I'll give you that we made some mistakes with it, but they did not go into the Gulf of Tonkin thinking knowing that the all that there were aspects of the North Vietnamese that didn't attack us the second time. They did attack us the first time. They didn't attack us the
Mhm.
second time. Okay, that's true. But they did not go in there with the attitude. But that's all hindsight 2020 shit. If they wouldn't have attacked us the first time, there never would have been a Gulf of Tonkin incident.
Mm.
The Gulf of Tonkin incident
I'm
starts with them attacking the United States. Period.
Yeah, I'm gonna regret this. I know I am, but I'm gonna say it. Does that mean technically that the entire Vietnam War was actually America's fault?
No, because that all started with the communist revolution against the French in
Y-
what
y-
then
uh,
becomes the
y-
Where they separated North Vietnam and South Vietnam, but the North Vietnamese still continue to press the point. Ho Chi Minh is still pressing the point.
yeah, no, I'm agreeing that, but my point being is, if America hasn't decided to play silly buggers, as you've literally just finished laying out all the times it played silly buggers,
How did we play
then
silly buggers?
technically, okay, should I really just go over exactly what you just finished saying to
Yeah,
me about?
go ahead.
Okay, well, how about if JFK hadn't opened his freaking gob and decided to play silly buggers and started causing all the trouble he did?
Well,
How about if
it
he
backed him.
my go. How about if after that Johnson didn't get a bee up his arse and go, you know what? Let's send in all these people because we've got absolutely no reason to, but let's do it anyway. Then
That's where
there's the
you're
whole.
wrong. I didn't say that.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, go for
you're
it.
misunderstanding what I'm saying.
I'm willing to accept I may be. Please
He
continue.
you once again, when he sent in troops, it wasn't because he didn't believe it. He didn't believe it. He was wrong about it, but he did believe that the Vietnamese had attacked twice and were continuing to attack American ships. Okay, there was no reason to doubt it at that time.
Okay.
Okay,
Did he
this
really need to send in that many? Was that essential? Really?
that's hindsight. Hindsight's 2020.
That's fair. I'll accept that statement.
Okay, so I mean, you don't know what the enemy has until the enemy is there, and that's what causes the
That's true.
uptick in the in our involvement. Okay, the first one, like I
Okay.
said, has to do with the fact that Kennedy, because he was afraid he was looking weak against communism. All right, plussed up our involvement with the French. All right, while the French then withdrew, which was, you know, we never should have taken over for the French. That was just stupid. Okay, but I
So,
it's Kennedy put troops in there because they were afraid of the spread of communism. Okay, once again,
because I just want to check
hindsight.
something with you.
Well, once again, hindsight is 2020. Okay,
Yeah.
could we have done things differently? Yes, but once you put in troops in an area, you don't go in with a half-hearted attitude. That was Johnson's
No,
mistake.
no.
Okay,
Yes, I
and
agree there.
I totally lay that at the feet of Johnson, right? Because he was
Okay.
too busy. What do you have happen with Johnson? What is Johnson involved in? Johnson is involved with the Soviet Union to try and stop the proliferation of nuclear weapons.
Okay.
Okay, between us and the Soviet Union. So you end up with them focused on that even more so than on the Vietnam War. They don't the Vietnam War from a U.S. foreign policy aspect as he saw it. Okay, not as the
Mm-hmm.
American public, but as he saw it. All right, was a sidelight. It's a containment issue. Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense
Yeah.
because we were successful in the containment in Korea. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Even though technically Korean War's not over.
That's
Might be with you, but the Korean War in and of itself is technically still
technically
ongoing.
it is not. There's only been an armistice. That is true.
Okay. Just making a little point
We
there. That's all.
have attempted. We have attempted to quote unquote end it.
I agree.
Right? The North Koreans refuse. Just putting it out there. Okay.
Yeah.
So you end up with that situation. Okay. But once again, our
Mm-hmm.
involvement in a lot of these things is a response. Now you can say that our response is heavy-handed or an overreaction. Okay. But I'm going to point out to you that your comment of saying something like that is because hindsight's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
And
would point out that your major flaw was you actually trusted the French. That
well,
was your mistake.
with regards to
Just saying.
the French, I mean that's look, we we've had our we've done our payback. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to do this. At the end of the day, America came about because France helped it. Do you agree or disagree? I mean, you can sit there and get technical as much as you like, but at the end of the day, it was because of the French involvement that really helped America
Well, French
in
involvement
the.
was critical in the defeat of Cornwallis at Yorktown. That there's no doubt about
Okay.
it.
Pause. Yep. Pause. Now, can you tell me any other time the French have been, air quotes, of use to America? Really? I'll wait.
They were of use to America when we invaded Normandy and on D-Day.
Yeah, so with the rest of us. So let's leave that one to one side. I'm talking directly just the French.
Uh,
Yeah, right. So how many times have the French have screwed over America? And I bet you it's more than one.
and I can tell you one more thing.
Go on then.
Okay, when it
I'll
comes
buy
to
it.
votes in the UN, the French
Mhm.
are a better ally than the British.
Yes.
Okay,
That
so
doesn't say a thing.
well, if
You've
you're
made it clear what you think. You've made it clear what you think of the UN. Okay.
I have, all right, but I just want to point out that when it comes to supporting the U.S.
Mhm.
position, France has been far more of an ally than the British have.
I completely agree, but I also want to point out that I've got no faith in the British government nowadays.
Any more
We're
than I
we're
have in the
basically,
U.S. government, unfortunately, to a large extent.
you know what? We could sort of come to an arrangement and maybe go for, I don't know, a British American connection here. Maybe take over the world. What do you think?
No,
You like
no,
the idea?
but you're
I like
you're
it.
back to Pax Americana, aren't
Hey, I was just making a suggestion. As long as there is one limitation, though, we have to nuke Paris. But otherwise, that's pretty much it.
I don't see. I just don't see. Okay, nuking Paris is more palatable to Americans today than it has been in the past. I will admit that. All right, but I don't
Hmm.
think you understand culturally Americans' fascination with Paris. Deep fascination with Paris. Don't
It's not.
ask
I don't
me
understand.
to
I don't
explain it.
understand why. You,
Do not ask me to explain it. But there
yeah,
is a huge
yeah.
part of our population that is just absolutely enamored with Paris. I can't tell
This
you
is
why.
fair.
I can't tell you where it comes
Mhm.
from. I've looked at it and go, what the hell's wrong with you people? Okay. We have such a deep fascination for Paris. There's not another major city worldwide, all right, was that Americans have that kind of fascination for, all right, and internationally, all right.
Okay,
Even
I'll cut you a
even
deal.
even Rome doesn't come close. Even London doesn't come close.
Yeah.
All right, and this is
I'll
with
cut you a
this is
deal then.
go ahead.
Okay, we won't nuke Paris, but you have to invade it and take it over and keep it. No running back to your homeland with your people. No, you take it. That becomes your 54th state, 51st state. Do your thing. That
Did you
is
at
my
one
limitation.
time have Paris?
Parts of it. I don't think we actually
Uh-huh.
took the
And
whole thing, but
did
yeah.
you then give it away?
Yes, we did.
Okay,
That's
okay.
because we basically.
So why do you expect us to take it and hold it? We don't want them any more than you do. We don't want the
Uh,
French any more than you do.
oh no, no, I did not say at any point that the French were going to survive you coming. You were the one that said that your country loves Paris. We will give you Paris. You can have Paris. You have to kill every single MF over there, but you can keep Paris. Okay,
I'm just saying
you can shove your flag on top of that big ass tower if that is what rocks your world. You do that, and I tell you what, we will cheer.
the big iron scaffolds in the sky. That's really
Dude, they
when you think
just
about it. The Eiffel Tower, that's all it is. It's a big giant scaffold.
they stole the idea from Blackpool, and you know it.
Whether they
If you're
stole it
thinking,
or not, they built it.
yeah, that is true, they did. Then again,
And
technically, they also built the Statue of Liberty, but we've got issues on Statue of Liberty,
well,
seeing as it's technically a man originally. Did you
look,
know that bit?
look. They sold it to us. It's
Yeah,
whatever we say it is.
that's fair. But no, did you actually know that, by the way? Statue of Liberty was actually a Roman general, and then they modified it.
Well, they didn't want to give Rome anything. I just to this day I do not understand. Uh, there's there's obviously two things that Americans want to see, right? When they go to France, okay.
Hmm.
One is the giant freaking scaffold in the sky. Don't know why. Been there, seen
Yeah.
that. Don't know why. The other thing, of
Mm.
course, is the
Yeah.
Louvre. Okay,
Yeah.
everybody's fascinated with the Louvre. The
Yeah.
cultural wannabes in the country, right? The
Hmm.
nouveau culture group, they all want to see the
Hmm.
Champs Elysees in the Seine and the Riverwalk and everything, where all the
Hmm.
foreign painters, none of which were French, all right, right, became well known for, right,
Yep.
right. And I'm not wrong, right? Can you name me the
Oh no,
French
no, I
painter,
completely agree.
right?
I'll wait. Yeah, I know.
I mean,
Most of them are dark.
I'm not saying that there weren't good French painters, but I don't know any of their names, all right? And most
No.
Americans wouldn't either, all right? And we only know the names of other painters. Most most
Yeah.
people don't even know the names of American painters. Just putting it out there. The only one they could probably name is Picasso, and he's not really American. He's more Spanish.
Well, the only American painters I can really think of is that guy who likes throwing paint at walls.
Yeah, well, we don't even know. I don't know who that is. Okay.
No, I can't remember his
There's
name,
only
unfortunately. But the
two.
thing is, I know
There,
I'd know it.
there's only there's very few. There's only a few paintings in
Yep.
America that people are even aware of, right? The one is the painting of
Fair.
George Washington.
Shock horror.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One is Whistler's mother,
Yes.
right? And the other one is the picture of the farmer, the guy with the pitchfork and his wife.
Yep. Yep.
Those are
Yep.
the only really well known. I mean, there are other American painters that people
Obviously.
obviously know, but not of any kind of the kind of huge the huge international type of acclaim. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yes. No, I do understand, and I'm not saying this to take piss. I understand completely.
And I'm not saying in America. Same thing with writers. Most Americans, there's only one writer that most Americans even think of as an American writer. Right? Freaking Hemingway.
Yeah.
Just put it
No, no,
out
you
there.
are correct.
All right,
You
just
are
put it
correct.
out
I
there.
can't really disagree. Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm not a Hemingway fan.
Mm,
Right?
fair.
Never was. Okay, for a variety of reasons, but
Yeah.
Hemingway never did it for me. Now Americans will know other contemporaries. The guy who did Walden's Pond, right? Thoreau and
Mm,
everything else. But really, those are more philosophical bent individuals, right? As far as the
yeah.
American poets go, there's only one American poet that has any name recognition in America, and that's Robert Frost, right? Other than that, good luck. Okay.
I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna get shouted at for it, so it's worth it. But if we're talking poets, what about Bob Dylan?
What about him?
Oh, that's harsh. It's not necessarily wrong, but you got to admit, he could not sing to save his life, but that man was a wordsmith.
Okay.
And
Real.
don't give me no hippie crap about this, okay?
Don't give me no hippie crap. You're out of your mind. He is a hippie. He's the
I know.
quintessential type of hippie. Someone who is way freaking overrated. All right, as far
Yeah.
as it goes, sure, he was able to, and I won't deny this, right?
Yeah.
His skills in writing songs, all right, for the time, they're all popular. If you ask the kids nowadays to name a Bob Dylan song, are they anything going to remember one?
Times they are changing. That is it.
You'd be lucky if you even get that one.
Literally. Yeah, that's fair, but that is literally the only one that anyone will have. To be fair, it's the only one any bugger remembers.
Okay, I'm not going to deny that his influence, okay, but
Hmm.
as far as long-standing recognition, no, he's not.
Hmm.
More people in the younger set today have heard of Jimi Hendrix than they have of Bob Dylan.
Oh God, yes.
Okay, just putting it out there.
Oh, I don't disagree with you at all, sir.
Okay, so I'm at, and trust me, I mean, there are American artists that were well known. Elvis, obviously, Elvis is international. Okay,
Hmm.
when it comes to other internationals, good luck. Oh, interesting.
Mm.
Trump thinks that Biden's going to drop out tomorrow.
To be fair, they've all been saying that quite a bit. Personally, if he drops out, he drops out. It just means that you guys are going to get stuck with someone, and basically, the only way that they're going to get in is if you get the same sort of cack that happened a few years ago. I'm not laying claims on anything before YouTube starts.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've been going on about this, and I know you got to catch a few winks before you start your next thing. So I'm going to let you go,
Yeah.
Jensen. I'll talk to you later.
I did. Bye bye.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Good luck to you all.